Sextortion killed my son.
Sextortion is when an adult entices a child to produce a sexually explicit image of themselves and send it to them over the internet.
From the time Gavin was contacted by his sextortionist till he took his own life was how long?
1 hour and 40 minutes.
1 hour and 40 minutes. That's how deadly a game we're playing here. America, we have a problem. Our virtual borders are being breached, and our children are under attack. There is a dangerous and silent predator out there, one that is entering your home without your permission and threatening the well-being and, in the most extreme cases, the lives of your teen boys. Tonight, we're exposing an alarming and growing trend, one you probably have never even heard of, one that is specifically targeting your teenage young men, sextortion.
Sextortion is when an adult coerces or entices a child to produce a sexually explicit image of themselves and send it to them over the internet. Once the offender gets a single image of a child, typically they'll use that image to coerce the child to produce more and more under threats of sending that image to friends at school, names on a contact list, or even the parents. Any child can be a victim of this crime, whether they're on the honor roll, whether they're a star athlete, boys or girls, but we have to encourage them to make smart decisions when they're online.
The rise of teen boys being sextorted is a dark reality in which predators are cashing in on the stage of their brain development, their lack of real-life relationships, lack of impulse control, parental ignorance, and most importantly, the deterioration of the American family unit. That's right, I said it. These evil and relentless predators have figured out a way to take advantage of our society's weaknesses to prey on and, in the most tragic instances, murder our young men. How? Well, let me tell you, these days, nuclear families are more disconnected than ever. It isn't that the parents don't love their children, of course you all do. But families have stopped eating dinner together, stopped having game or movie nights, and family discussions are often just non-existent. And when families do spend time together, it seems everyone is buried in their phones or their iPads or laptops. Sextortionists are determined and remorseless. So parents, put your phones down, gather your family together, hold them close, and listen up. Because what you learned tonight could save your son's life. Now, Tim and Tamia know exactly what these evil predators are capable of.
My 17-year-old son, James, was a wonderful child.
He ran track, 110 hurdles and the 300 hurdles.
James was on track to be #1 in the state of Ohio for Division II.
But he never got a chance to run the senior year.
He did the unthinkable, which was take his life. On November 18, 2022, a young lady contacted James on Instagram, asked if he wanted to see her topless, and his answer was yes. Then she said, okay, it's your turn. So he sent her a screenshot. Then the threats immediately started.
They sent him about 200 messages.
They said that they would release his picture to all the social media sites if he didn't send $6,000.
Message after message after message. We didn't know there was a problem until he was gone. November 19th, I get to my house, I see a light on in a room where there shouldn't be a light on. When I walked into the room, I see my son on the floor. I screamed, he didn't respond. I crawled over to him, I shook him a little bit and I laid on him. I just grabbed my phone and called my wife to let her know we just lost our only baby.
Oh man, I lost it because I couldn't understand Where did we go wrong? Like, what happened here? And why is my son gone? We were just dancing. I just told him I loved him and I was proud of him, and my son is gone. I couldn't believe it. Sextortion took my son's life.
Tamia, Tim, I want to thank you both for being here and talking about this. You're going to save lives by what you're doing right now, this minute. Let's talk about what happened. It was November 18th of 22, and James was contacted by a woman on Instagram, correct?
Yes, correct.
The first message was, how old are you and where do you go to school, right? Mm-hmm. So what you would expect from a peer, right? Tim, in piecing this together, how quickly did he discover that it wasn't who he thought it was?
It probably took him I want to say about 4 or 5 hours before he realized that he wasn't talking to the girl anymore.
What was the initial threat?
The initial threat was they were going to expose him to the world. You know, they had his picture. They said, we're going to put it on social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. They were just going to plaster him everywhere.
And that they owned him now.
Yeah.
His life was over.
And to a young man with this shame and this fear, I mean, this was a tremendous burden. What was his reaction?
Yes, extremely stressed. So all he had was cash on him, and it was a little over $100. So they coached him into going to get a gift card, and they video called him again, took the numbers from the gift card, and then had him discarded. But he still owed $200. And he begged if he could have more time. Why would you do this to me? I told you I was an unemployed student. He was literally begging for his life, for them to give him mercy.
When this was going on, like, you were with him at a college fair,
yes.
right? And you guys were together and
yes.
you were dancing and...
Yes, it was an amazing day. Like, we just were planning out his future.
Now, Tim and Tamia say that they had no idea that their son was just hours away from taking his own life when they saw him that morning. So you may think that your child is back in their room doing homework, playing a video game or whatever, and not know that these predators have gotten their hooks into them. And we're going to take a look at what actually happens, how these things go down. Whether it's talk of a Nobel Peace Prize or fears of World War III, one thing's certain: uncertainty rules the day. And when the world feels this unstable, your finances are on the line. If Iran blocks the Strait of Hormuz, oil prices could skyrocket just like the 1970s. That triggered inflation, gas shortages, and a weakening dollar. Wall Street's already tense. Goldman Sachs sees sustained recession risk, and JP Morgan warns of a potential oil shock. Add in $36 trillion in national debt, and the financial pressure is real. This isn't hype, it's a wake-up call. The time to act is now. That's why I trust Preserve Gold. When the world turns unstable, smart folks turn to gold and silver. Text Dr. Phil to 50505 to get your free precious metals guide from Preserve Gold. As a bonus, you can get up to $15,000 in free silver with a qualified purchase. So don't wait. Text Dr. Phil to 50505 today.
The FBI is tracking these scenarios, bad actors making contact through social media and starting a conversation in direct messages, eventually enticing victims to send compromising photos. Between 2021 and 2022, the FBI reports a more than 200% increase in cases in South Carolina, a 600% increase in North Carolina. Now, experts warn that technology like artificial intelligence or AI will help scammers supercharge virtual sextortion even more.
All right, I'm back with Tim and Tamia, and I wanted to look at exactly what was going on. These people were relentless, and thanks to you, we have some of these texts that we could take a look at. Mm-hmm. They're telling him, I am more determined to rot your life. I remind you, I have no pity to rot your life as well as yours. There's nothing you can say, there's nothing you can do. He says, I am a man of my word, and trust me, if you pay me $200, if you pay this, I swear on my mom's head that this nude video of you will be deleted forever. If this video of you naked is on the net, you risk having serious problems. So to avoid that, I advise you to do this that I ask you. So in case you try to turn off the camera or run away, I swear to God that you may regret it. Answer me if you really care about your life. If you're young and you feel shame and you're alone, then you feel trapped and you don't know where to turn. You don't know what to do. You walked in and found your son.
That is correct.
I can't even, people will tell you, time heals all wounds, you'll get over this. Let me tell you, you will not. You will find a way to accommodate, but you'll never get over this, and I'll never tell you you will. You'll find a way to adapt and get through it, but that moment is etched in your mind and heart forever, is it not?
Oh, yes, most definitely. I was told that time heals all wounds, and my response to that is it doesn't. There's a hole that'll never be refilled. That part of me is gone.
Tell me about the phone call when he had to tell you that.
So Tim and I, Tim just got off of work and he had checked in with me like we always do. He was going home, he was going to talk to James about how the college fair went, and he was really happy. I really heard a good positive vibe in my husband's voice. And not even 5 minutes later, I get another call and I hear tears in his voice, and he told me James is gone, and I'll never forget that because I'm like, what do you mean my son is gone? What happened? And he's like, he's gone. I'm like, can we I was thinking maybe we could take him to the hospital, when he was telling me this, maybe we could fix this, he was like, I gotta call you back. I have to call 911. And so I waited for him to call 911, and then he calls me back, and I'm waiting for him to tell me he's okay. And he was gone. I had to come to truth that my son was gone. Dr. Phil, and that's the worst news you could ever have. That was horrible for me.
When you think about the people that did this for a few $100s and the things that they said to your boy, is there any word other than evil to describe what they did?
They're beyond evil. Beyond evil. It's heartless. They're attacking our children. I thought kids were off limits, and they're not. It's how these grown adults are manipulating our children, are attacking our children, are insinuating and instilling suicidal thoughts into our children. To imagine what my son was going through, that 19 and a half hours that he was being tortured, I would never want any other kid to go through. Oh, I wish I would have known something like this. We are big educators. We talk to James. We are not the parents that say, don't do drugs because we said so. Don't drink alcohol because we said so. We always said, do not do this because here are the consequences. Here's what will happen. If we knew anything about sextortion, our son would be here today.
Yeah, we would have definitely had that conversation. We talked about everything. There was nothing we hid from him. We didn't sugarcoat anything. We gave him all the facts that he could possibly have. And every time when he was in a situation where he needed information, he got the information and made the right decision. This one particular time, it was just one of those times where he didn't have the answers he needed.
And what a fine young man, and
Yes.
headed forward in his life. He's an accomplished athlete, everything going his way. And they got to him, they can get to anyone.
Anybody.
And that is exactly why I'm here. That's exactly why I'm doing this show. That's exactly why Merritt Street Media is here. And that's exactly why we invited them here to do this, to save lives. Now, tragically, Tim and Tamia are not the only parents to go through this. Our next guest, Brandon, has an all too similar story, and sadly, it is happening to so many more of our sons, and it's happening as we speak. South Carolina Representative Brandon Guffey says that it was just 2 hours between when his son Gavin was contacted by his sextortionist and when he felt he had no other option but to end his life. Now, Brandon says his son showed no signs of distress. Just minutes before, he took his own life, leaving his family blindsided.
Gavin was one of a kind. He was very happy, always wanted to be the class clown. Mine and Gavin's relationship was extremely open. Gavin knew that he could come to me at any time. Gavin received a message from what he thought was a girl. I don't know if the scammer sent images to Gavin, but Gavin obviously sent images to them. And as soon as the images were seen, they sent the photos back to him, trying to get money from him. The night my son killed himself, he would come out of his bedroom and he was being extremely quiet. And I just said, "Night, buddy, I love you." And walked right past him. He walked right into the bathroom. This is the bathroom that Gavin went into. I heard just this loud noise. I ran to the door, I yelled his name, I shouldered the door in, and I thought that he was knocked out. Gavin was laying in between the toilet and the tub. I jumped to him, shouting his name, and I grabbed Gavin, and I put my hand on his artery, and then blood was just flowing. I started screaming, "Sextortion killed my son." I was filled with just so much rage. It is the worst feeling in the world to lose a child. You feel like a failure. Some people want justice. I want vengeance.
Brandon, thank you for being here. You lost your son, Gavin, and you saw no signs from him. This happened so fast. It's terrifying. It's frightening.
It is your worst fear. Imagine your most vulnerable moment. And whenever we got bullied in school or something happened, it was always our word against someone else's. Now, it's not just everyone in your school, it's everyone in every school and everyone within the community that's gonna see this. And that's what's so horrifying to these children.
I've been doing Dr. Phil at the platform for over 20 years. We didn't have these social media platforms when we started, and kids didn't have predators coming at them this way. I've had to change and add these things to the list, and parents need to do the same thing. We need to change the dialogue we're having with our kids.
Absolutely.
And when I say families in America are under attack, I don't think that's an overstatement. Do you?
No, sir. I think we're too busy trying to protect our families from outside physical attacks. And the problem is our children are being attacked in our own homes, in our schools, to where we feel like we are keeping them safe, and they are not. That's where the biggest attacks are coming from.
From the time Gavin was first engaged until he was gone was how long?
1 hour and 40 minutes.
Do y'all all hear that? That's how deadly a game we're playing here. 1 hour and 40 minutes. And we're talking about an intelligent, engaged, competent young man. 1 hour and 40 minutes. That's how powerful the leverage is here.
Yes, sir. And a kid that was far from perfect. But there was nothing that we couldn't talk about. I knew that he had been sexually active. I knew that he had experimented with drugs. We had all the hard conversations. And yet, right before he took his life, he walked right past me. And it's very hard to lose a child, but it's another to know that your child chose to take their life, because you put that responsibility on yourself. And I started looking back and trying to figure it out. And I got a hint that he had been blackmailed, but I didn't know what for. But even at that time, I'm thinking, what could he have done that was so horrific that would cause him to take his life? And whenever I found out the simplicity of the scheme, just rage, that it could be something so simple.
As you say, this was not a young man that wasn't worldly.
Correct.
This was not a naive, noodle-neck bookworm kid that lived in his basement. This kid was out and about.
I've seen this crime. I deal with 1 to 2 phone calls per day with people across the country dealing with this. And I've seen kids as young as 8, and I've seen grown men as old as 70 getting caught up in these schemes. But teenage boys are the primary target right now.